Hello, I'm HD Chambers, Superintendent of Schools for Alief ISD. And once again, I want to thank you for joining this weekly message. I come to you as in the week before Christmas and in the holiday season. And so this will be our last one for 2020. I want to thank everyone, and I sincerely mean this. I want to thank everyone, staff, parents, students, community members, board members, for watching these and listening to these. I'm under no illusion everybody listens to them, and I'm under no illusion everybody watches the whole thing. I understand that. I only do these to try to be helpful, to try to communicate, and to provide as much information as possible. And so for those of you that find these helpful, I am glad. For those of you that it's a waste of time, I understand. I completely understand. But I do appreciate it. I appreciate the questions that come from this. I get a lot of questions. I get a lot of comments, criticisms, critiques, and I assure you that I take those comments, the well wishes as well as the not so well wishes. I take all of that into consideration as we move forward, depending on what the topic is and what the issue is. As you know, there are some things I do have control over, and there's some things I don't have control over. And we all, the board, myself, our staff, we do the best we can to try to explain when we don't have control over a situation or we don't have control over a decision. But nevertheless, I just want to thank everyone for watching these, and hopefully over the last 9 months, they've been a little bit helpful for someone. We've made mistakes. We've made decisions that I wish I could go back and do over, like anyone else and like everyone. And this is kind of the most overused statement but we've never gone through this before. No one's ever done this before. So yes, we have made decisions that we had to go back and correct or change. And it reminds me of a story that I shared with our Alief administrative team yesterday during an administrative leadership meeting. And it has to do with, he was the second president of IBM. Tom Watson Jr., his father, Tom Watson Sr., founded IBM. And from 1951 to 1972, or maybe it was 1952 to 1971, but Tom Watson Jr. was CEO and president of IBM, and arguably the most successful company in the history of our country. Well, there was a time where an employee made a mistake, an IBM employee made a mistake, and it cost the company around $2 million. And Mr. Watson found out about it, and so he called the employee in. And as you would expect, the employee was nervous and scared and felt as though he was walking into an office to be fired for his mistake or his error. And he walks in the office. Mr. Watson greets him. He greets Mr. Watson, and the employee says, "Well, I guess I'm here to be relieved of my job." And Mr. Watson is quoted as saying, "No, young man, just the opposite. Why would we fire you? We just invested $2 million in your education." And the point of that is that if we make mistakes and we make errors, if we don't learn from them, then it wasn't an educational experience. And so all of us in our personal life and our professional life, we make those mistakes. We make mistakes, but if we want to turn them into educational experiences, then we have to do something about them. And so I mentioned that just to be as transparent as possible, that I know that not every decision that I have made, and not every decision that we as a collective team of 8, our board, myself, and then obviously our leadership team, we realize we haven't gotten it right every single time. I think we've gotten it right a lot. I really do. I really do. But again, I just want to acknowledge that we're continuing to work as hard as we can to make the best decisions we possibly can, and learn from our mistakes. Learn from our mistakes. When you get into situations like this pandemic, organizations that continue to prosper and continue to flourish, in many cases do that because of the camaraderie and the relationships that have been built prior to the event. So prior to the pandemic, I would like to think in our district, for the most part, we have built positive relationships, and there's a certain amount of trust. You know, I know people don't trust a lot of things, and there are people that don't trust government. There are people that don't trust leaders. You know, the superintendent or the CEO of a company, or and I understand that, and in some cases it's deserving in many organizations. Sometimes people that are in leadership positions and in governmental elected positions have made decisions that have put all of us, everyone else, under the same scrutiny. So I'm fully aware of that, but I want everyone to know how much the board and myself and our leadership team care about our staff and our kids. And I know some of you may roll your eyes, or because I know there's a small percentage of staff members, and there's even some students and some parents who question bringing students back face to face. They question our decision making in rolling out the in-person learning. And I understand that, and I'll just tell you that it goes back to something I said several times during messages back during July, August, September timeframe, was that we were trying to balance the needs of our students and the needs of our staff, and we continue to do that. But at no time have we tried to, or made, at no time do I feel like we've made decisions that just flat out fly right in the face of safety and security of all involved. So, but also knowing that it's very risky, and I know teachers, campus, those who work on campuses, I know you're nervous and you're scared, and when you hear of a positive case, it raises your it kind of raises your level of concern. It does. It's natural. It always does. So, but we're also attempting to balance the educational, social, emotional development of our kids as well. So I'll continue until we get back to some form of comfort that everyone has in person. We will continue working to make this as palatable and safe as possible. I want to talk about one thing as it relates to, excuse me. As it relates to the idea of caring, I guess. There are some districts across the state, not a lot, but there are some that are giving bonuses, if you will, or some type of little mid-year stipend, ranges from a couple $100s up to $1,000. And I just want to speak to that real quickly. There is a reason that I have not done that, and it is a simple reason, and I hope you believe me on this. But the reason is we have not done that, the board, myself, because we have already put every dollar that we have available into employee salaries. Meaning, we don't hold money back so that we can give one-time payments. We have always put literally every available dollar that we have into salaries and into our contribution into the health insurance premiums. That's why we have not raised health insurance premiums in 11, 12 years, something like that. The costs have gone up, but we have not passed those costs along to our staff. We as a district, the taxpayers of this district, have contributed to the ever increasing premium cost, deductibles, copays, etc. So just to give you an example, Alief ISD, for every employee under our health insurance plan, we contribute roughly $670 to $680 per month to keep premiums where they are. And I'm not saying premiums are low or cheap or anything like that, but relative to the market, they are. I'm not saying benefits and all the copays and deductibles. I'm not saying they're free, and I'm not saying they're cheap, What I am saying is that relative to the market, they are very, very, very more than competitive. They're the lowest. So when you take into consideration our employees' salaries, and I'm talking specifically teachers right now, and you add in the health insurance premiums, and you subtract the health insurance premiums from your salary, the take-home pay for every employee in this district is anywhere from $140 a year more to $5,000 a year more compared to local districts. So I don't want to come across as defensive. That's not what I'm attempting to do. I'm trying to explain that for those that are looking and reading and hearing and seeing on social media, one district is giving $500 or whatever it is. That is great. That's good. That is good for their employees. But I would also like for you to see in context the fact that we have already spent that money in your salaries, and so that it's TRS eligible. And so I just want to say that because we've had a couple of comments, and I know it's on people's minds. I know it is. But we've had a couple of people make public comments about, why haven't you given us $500 or $1,000 or some type of stipend? And I'm giving you the honest reason is that we have already put every penny we have into your salaries. Last year everyone got anywhere from a 6 to almost a 9% raise. No one in the state of Texas got that much of a raise. No one. It's because we put every penny we had immediately into your salaries. And as I mentioned, we continually increase our contribution to health insurance premiums so that we don't have to pass those increased costs to you. So I just wanted to say that because it's come up publicly. It came up in a board meeting the other night, and I just wanted to clarify. And I don't know if that satisfies, but I'm trying to clarify our position and the way our district and our board has attempted to financially reward teachers, both on the compensation side and on the health insurance premium side. I also want to talk about the budget, and I want to be really clear. I want to be really clear about this. Yes, there is a pending budget problem in the state of Texas and in every public school in the state, including Alief. That budget problem, as you might expect, is a direct result of the pandemic. And more specifically, it's a direct result of what's going on with the price of a barrel of oil in the oil and gas industry in our state, and with sales tax collections going down. So when the Texas legislature meets beginning in January through May of 2021, they're going to be dealing with some financial hardships in public ed because we're such a significant portion of the state budget. We will not go untouched. Now, what does that mean? I don't know. I really don't. I just know we need to be prepared for a conversation and to be be prepared for what might happen as it relates to the budget. But I want everyone to know this right now. Jobs are safe. We are not laying people off at the beginning of the year. We're not laying people off in the middle of the spring. We're gonna move forward. No one's gonna lose benefits. We're not cutting programs. Yes, we are looking at where we spend money right now, and we're tightening the belt, and we've been doing that since, quite frankly, we've been doing it since August, September, when the budget was passed. But I don't want anyone to leave for the break worried about their job or concerned about their job. You're already worried about 1,000 other things, both professionally and personally. So don't worry about your job this spring. Or for the rest of the school year. Now, we will have to look at the 21-22, 22-23 budget, and we will have to wait and see how the state legislature addresses the upcoming biennium. And I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. If there may be situations where we have to make budgeting decisions that require all of us to be adults and understand what's at hand. But we have no plans right now to lay anyone off or to issue a reduction in force for this school year. So that's where we are right now, and I just want to kind of be clear about that. But we do have to prepare for the future, and one of my jobs as a superintendent is to be along with the board, obviously, is for us 8, those 7 trustees and myself, we are stewards of the taxpayer money, and we have to be smart and wise about how we use that money. This district has a long history of being extremely successful in managing taxpayer funds, and we will continue that as we move through the next year or so, as we feel the impact of COVID on our state budget and then ultimately our local budget. I want to shift gears just real quickly. We have had a very successful rapid testing rollout, if you will. I want to say something about our school nurses and our school support staff who supports our clinical nurses and the aides that support them, whether they're an RN or an LVN or a CNA, which is a clinical nursing assistant. But I want to express my sincere gratitude to our nurses across the district. They are, while they're not in a hospital, they might as well be in terms of having to address potential COVID cases in our schools and COVID cases outside of our schools. As many of you know, and if you don't, I would encourage you to visit our website, but we are now offering rapid COVID testing at Crump Stadium off of High Star. So if you're familiar with this area, the Crump Stadium ticket booth off of High Star, which is right across the street from Hastings High School, will be open over the break. I highly encourage you to look at our website for the dates and the times, but it's a rapid test. It's a non-intrusive test. It takes 15 minutes for the result. It only takes a swab from your nose, your lower nostril area. It's not the deeper penetrating test that many of us are familiar with. But I just want to make everyone aware that it's going to be open during the break, and I encourage everyone to please take advantage of it. I've been asked a lot about the vaccine. There's obviously, they're out being distributed right now to the first group of recipients, our medical staff in our hospitals and our elderly and our assisted living and nursing homes. We have worked really hard, all of us, a lot of districts have worked really hard to convince the governor to include teachers and campus staff as frontline employees who should be first in line to get a vaccine. So I know the governor announced recently that he supports that. So just know that we have been supporting that as a district and then as a group of superintendents, and working as hard as we can to make sure that teachers and those of you that work on a campus, all people that work on a campus who come into contact with students every day, that you're considered an essential frontline worker as it relates to where your place is in line to get the vaccine. So just want to let you know that's going on. I also want to be really clear. I was asked this by one of my students the other day in my student advisory committee. Were we going to require students and staff to be vaccinated? And the short answer is that's no. We're going to communicate about it. We're going to make it available when appropriate and when possible, but it is not a requirement. That is a personal decision that each family member and each employee will have to make as to how they go about making that decision. But we will not require that vaccine. We will not. I'll end by this. I hope that every one of you, regardless of parents, kids, staff, community members, I hope that you find time to be thankful. I know Thanksgiving week is typically when we talk about being grateful and thankful, but I want to just remind everyone that in spite of everything that's happening, in spite of the worst pandemic in over 100 years, I know many of you have lost loved ones, you've lost family members, you've lost a lot personally. I know many of you professionally have what you felt like have lost your ability to do good work, particularly those of you teachers in the classrooms. I know the number one thing that probably frustrates you the most right after the health concern that you have for yourself and your family is your inability to do the best you can and do your best work because of the situation we have. Kids learning at home, kids in your classroom, kids, the mobility. I mean, I know, but I'm sincerely asking everyone to take time to think about how thankful we should be. In our meeting yesterday, I was preparing for it, and I was just thinking about all the people in this district and what they did beginning March the 12th. We had distribution workers from our warehouse driving on their own personal time on weekends. We had our technology department, both our digital learning and our support side, working 24 hours a day. And I know that sounds a little overly dramatic, but it's pretty close to the truth. Trying to stand up Alief Learns. We had nutrition workers going out, providing meals at curbside for families and children, and at that time in the heat of the summer and in the rain. And then as it got colder, in the cold, we had bus drivers picking kids up. We had transportation staff showing up every day, making sure those buses were ready to go and that they were clean. We had police officers and crossing guards and all of the support staff that you can imagine it takes to run our district. We had everyone picking up their end of the rope and holding it and doing their jobs and to the best of their ability, even when they were nervous. I mentioned the nurses. They've been working their tails off. Our special ed department, trying to identify our kiddos that receive and need special services for their education. Obviously, our teachers, and I say obviously, it's words can't describe our appreciation for what you have done to help keep kids moving in a direction that doesn't allow them to fall too far behind or any further behind than they are. Our principals, they have carried a lot of stress and a lot of heavy hearts as they've moved through this and trying to lead their campus and their staff. We have our attendance officers, people have been trying to find kids. We have volunteers. We have many of you that have been out looking for students, the enrollment declines that I've mentioned several times. We have our maintenance and custodians. In many cases, our custodians are the ones who are going in, cleaning the buildings in which there's been a positive case. Not in many cases, in every case, that's who's doing it. And I mean, they're putting their safety in jeopardy. Maintenance employees doing the same thing. I could go on and on and on and on. And I'm sure I've left someone out. I'll tell you, early on, we had our accounting and our business department coming in every day. Even after I shut the district down, I shut every building down. We still had to move business along, i.e. payroll, paying our bills, accepting deliveries, things like that. We still had skeleton staff coming in. And I remember the only cars in the parking lot for a long time were members of our business department and our payroll department, making sure employees got paid, making sure our bills were paid to vendors. And so there's just story after story, and not just in Alief, just in public education as a whole. It's been phenomenal. We literally, and this is the royal we literally took an educational system that's been in place for 175 years, and we turned it and flipped it in about 2 or 3 weeks. Now, did we make mistakes? Yeah, like I said earlier, but we've learned and we've attempted to mitigate those mistakes and mitigate those issues. So I know it sounds like we're patting each other on the back perhaps here, and I'm not patting myself, I promise you that. But I am patting the backs of all the educational staff members and team members of Alief ISD for stepping up and doing what our country does every time it faces a challenge. It takes it on, deals with it, and moves on. And so if I've left anyone off, any department, I sincerely apologize. I run that risk when I start naming groups or people, but I really appreciate all those support staff members that sometimes are in the shadows and don't get it acknowledged nearly as much as they should. So that's what I'm thankful for. That's what I'm thankful for. So be safe. I beg of you. I beg of you. I know you're going to be with family. I know you're going to be with friends. I know you're probably going to do something New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. Please be safe. Wear a mask. Socially distance. Wash your hands. I'm a little nervous about what's going to transpire after we come back in January, and with what might have occurred the 2 weeks that we're getting ready to take. But keep working to be safe. Keep that at the forefront of your mind. And when we come back, just be aware that one of our focuses is going to be to continue providing a safe and secure environment for education to take place. And then we are going to start continually diving into how do we overcome the learning losses that have occurred in the last 9 or 10 months. We've got our work cut out for us, and it's going to take a long time. But I'm excited and I'm ready to accept the challenge, and I hope that every one of you are as well. So Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year's. God bless every one of you, and stay safe, and we'll see you in 2021.